faculty, staff, family, friends, and esteemed fellow members and colleagues of the class of 2016. In the words of Malcolm X, education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Today, graduation day. Believe it or not, within the next 3 months, most of us will be teaching in our very own classrooms. Some of us will be staying within Washington State, some of us might not. It is hard to believe that not that long ago, we were all complete strangers who were barely beginning this program, wondering what it would entail and seeing graduation day as just an event that was far ahead in the future. And today, it has arrived at last. We have come through a lot together as a cohort. We have grown closely as, is this singing? No, right? We have grown closely as collaborators and have grown substantially as educators. We have written hundreds, collectively thousands of pages of pedagogy and critical analysis of educational literature. I estimate that over the course of 2 student teaching placements, not including last year's practicum, we have spent, I estimate that over the course of 2 student teaching placements, not including last year's practicum, we have spent over 800 hours in the classroom. We have met in pubs and gone to karaoke together, shared food together in our seemingly endless number of potlucks. We have talked together in seminar, in discussions, over projects, over coffee, sleepy-eyed and hair disheveled, yawning but still finding the strength to keep pushing through with all the work we had to do. We have laughed together and cried together, celebrated and mourned together. Fellow cohort, we have come far together, and we will go forth together in our teaching careers. Today, as we embark on this next critical step in our lives, I would like to touch upon 3 things for all of us to take up as social justice educators entering that first ever difficult year of teaching. First, I want you all to close your eyes. Think back to grade school, to middle or high school, or even college. Now, bring to mind the image of your favorite teacher. Who was your favorite teacher in school? Who was this person for you, and why have they stood out to you after all these years? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Open your eyes. My first piece of advice for you is this: be that teacher you brought to mind. Maybe they were the kindest teacher you have ever had. Maybe they advocated for you in some way. Maybe they pushed you to be better than you thought you could ever be, or gave you the confidence to pursue what you wanted in life. I will use mine as an example. When I was in 5th grade, I had a teacher named Miss Willis, who was one of the kindest, most supportive teachers I've ever had. See, my mom's nodding, she knows. She constantly pushed me to think and work harder, and being in a highly diverse community as a teacher of color, she appreciated all of us for the differences we had. She was fun and gave a lot of positive feedback. She listened well and got to know each and every single one of us as individuals, not as standardized test scores and not as statistics from OSPI. I think of her as the kind of teacher I want to be. And although sometimes I felt my student teaching, well, a lot of times actually, I had no idea what I was doing, I realized that the program has prepared me for the same things that Miss Willis advocated for me in 5th grade. I feel confident that each of us has the tools to become our favorite teacher, as long as we remember to give it our best shot and remember why we went into teaching in the first place. Think about your favorite teacher when your first year gets tough. My second piece of advice is this: network. I did my undergrad at USC, and one of the most popular programs on campus was business and administration. It had a reputation for not being so academically heavy as it was network heavy, meaning that connections were the most important aspect the program took in ensuring that students had a successful career after graduating. Fellow colleagues, look around at one another. We should be willing to network with each other after we go our separate ways. Sometimes I talk to other people about MIT and try voicing to my family and friends the importance of not being colorblind or even explaining the massive amounts of work we constantly had. But no one except us, fellow colleagues, truly understands what we have gone through together as a cohort. No amount of words will ever describe what it was like to have worked with all of you, with all that we have talked about in class, the gossip spoken, the jokes shared, the different dynamics created depending on who we worked with in small groups or seminar. No one else can understand what it was like to experience the bane of our existence that was the water cycle. and most importantly, to take part in such a social justice heavy curriculum that talked about race, gender, sexuality, social inequality, the danger of being neutral to these issues. Recognizing and reflecting where we stood with all of this, and the importance of starting where we are, but not stay there. Fellow cohort, we have come too far together to forget all of that. No words can describe how blessed, how lucky, how privileged I feel to have worked with all of you these past 2 years. And anyone else in the world would be so lucky to work and network with you in your future teaching placements. Our first year of teaching is going to be perhaps the most difficult, trying year of our careers. But know that you, fellow colleagues, are not alone. And you shouldn't have to go through your first year of teaching alone. You have a support network in the cohort, and we are strengthened by our common experiences. Please keep in touch with one another when times get rough, or even when you may feel like quitting, or just need someone to grab a coffee with, and know that we are all in this together. Which brings me to my third and final piece of wisdom. Be brave. Too often I have heard of things happening in schools that should not even be going on. Standardized testing aside, students are not always adequately being accommodated or having their needs met, or they are unjustly discriminated against. Writers such as H. Richard Milner and Lisa Delpit have noted that students of color are disproportionately disciplined compared to their white counterparts. And even authors like Jay McLeod have observed the way society is structured to give certain demographics social and economic advantages, while others fall through the cracks. Perhaps 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, I myself as a Latina may not even have been an educator, let alone be allowed or have the resources to go to college, let alone pursue 2 master's degrees. We have come a long way as a society, but many people forget that we still have a long way to go in ensuring that our students have equitable and fair access to education and are not being pushed aside because of skin color, economics, sexuality, or prejudice, so that they too can cross a stage such as this one and receive a diploma like the one we are about to receive today. It takes a colossal amount of courage to fight back against this flawed and broken system. We may not always be supported when we notice these inequities taking place in our schools, and we may even get scared and run away, or worse, perpetuate these injustices out of fear or external influence from administrators, other teachers, or the communities that we are supposed to be serving. No one ever said that change was going to be easy or met without opposition. But it is much more dangerous to choose not to do anything, because in failing to take action, we would only be contributing to these injustices. Therefore, fellow teachers, take courage in doing the right thing, and even if it feels like the rest of the world is against us and takes a deficit mindset towards education, never forget the lessons we have learned together. And if you do fall into complacency, give yourself the grace, I suppose you'd say, to stand back up and take it as a learning opportunity to do better next time. It is about how you grow from it and either let it define you or allow it to lead you to become a better person because or in spite of it. Because once upon a time at Evergreen, we believed that we could transform the world for the better. In the words of Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Fellow colleagues, today is the first day of the rest of our careers as transformative social justice educators. Do not ever forget to use what we have learned as a result of this program to become the best teachers we could be, and take courage in knowing that we will never walk alone. Do not forget the experiences of the past 2 years, but let it be part of who we will become, and who our students will become, and how we want the world to become. Thank you and congratulations Congratulations, MIT class of 2006.